This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets. Oil rose more than 1% on Monday, extending last week's gain, as potential OPEC Plus output cuts and conflict in Libya helped to offset a strong US dollar and a dire outlook for US growth. Saudi Arabia, top producer in the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, last week raised the possibility of production cuts, which sources said could coincide with a boost in supply from Iran should it clinch a nuclear deal with the West. Brent crude was up $1.14, or 1.1%, at $102.13 a barrel by 13:32 GMT, having risen by 4.4% last week. U.S. West Texas Intermediate, WTI, crude gained $1.52, or 1.6%, to $94.58 after rallying 2.5% last week.
Top oil exporter Saudi Arabia could slash October prices for most crude grades it sells to Asia after a plunge in spot premiums as tepid fuel demand and increasing arbitrage cargoes put pressure on oil prices in the region. State oil giant Saudi Aramco could cut the official selling price, OSP, for its flagship Arab Light crude by about $4.50 a barrel in October, according to 5 refining sources surveyed by Reuters on August 29. That would mark the first Saudi price reduction in 4 months after the country raised September OSPs to record high levels of $10.95 a barrel for Arab Extra Light against the Oman, Dubai average and $9.80 a barrel for Arab Light.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Indonesia has raised its 2022 biodiesel allocation to 11.03 million kiloliters amid expectations of rising demand in the fourth quarter while it extends an export levy waiver to maintain price stability, a senior minister said on Monday. The allocation of biodiesel, which is made from palm oil in Indonesia, will be increased from 10.15 million kiloliters, Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs, Erlangga Hartarto, said in a statement. Indonesia has a mandatory B30 program, where 30% of the fuel is palm oil based, and post-pandemic economic recovery is boosting demand for the fuel, he said.
The Taliban administration is in the final stages of talks in Moscow over the terms of a contract for Afghanistan to purchase gasoline and benzene from Russia, Afghan Commerce Ministry officials told Reuters. Habibur Habib, the spokesperson for Afghanistan's Ministry of Commerce and Industry, confirmed that an official delegation chaired by the Commerce Ministry was in the Russian capital and finalizing contracts for supplies of wheat, gas and oil. They are in negotiation with the Russian side, he said in a message to Reuters, adding they would share details once the contracts were complete.
Next, we have the top news in metal markets.
Base metals prices in Shanghai fell on Monday on worries of slower economic growth and metals demand after U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell signaled more interest rate hikes. Powell on Friday warned that Americans were headed for a painful period of slow economic growth and possibly rising joblessness. Slowing growth could lead to weakening demand for base metals, and copper is often used as a gauge of the global economic health. Powell's speech at the annual meeting was hawkish, and it is expected to have an impact on prices in the short term, said Jinrui Futures in a note.
Chilean authorities warned that the area around a copper mine where a sinkhole suddenly appeared is at high risk of further collapse and has set up a security perimeter. Government agencies and the mine's owners are studying what caused the appearance in late July of the mysterious hole that spans 36.5 meters, 120 feet, in diameter. The area is at high risk of further cracks or sinking near the Alcaparrosa mine, about 665 kilometers, 413 miles, north of Santiago, the Committee for Disaster Risk Management of Chile's northern Atacama region determined on Saturday night. We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector. Canadian farmers will harvest more wheat than expected, and the biggest canola crop in 3 years. A report featuring the government's first official harvest estimates showed on Monday. Canada's crop production is rebounding strongly after severe drought ravaged last year's harvest. Welcome news for a world coping with stranded grain and sunflower oil stocks in Ukraine due to war. Canada is the third largest exporter of wheat, used for baking and for producing pasta, and the biggest exporter of canola, which is used mainly to produce vegetable oil.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.